Hello fellow game devs, welcome back to Ranger Realm Studios. In today's session, we're going to strike a chord with the audio features in Unreal Engine 5. Whether it's an epic soundtrack or subtle footsteps, sounds bring our game worlds alive. Without any delay, let's jump right into it. Firstly, the building blocks of audio in Unreal Engine are called sound waves. Think of these as individual audio files or clips, like a single music track, a gunshot sound, or footsteps. There are several sources of free and paid audio out there, such as freesound.org or epidemicsound.com. Or you can get creative and record your own. Whatever works best for your project and budget. I recorded my own footsteps that I then edited and cut so I only hear the footstep. You can check out the sounds I use in this video in the description below. Now, let's bring in our audio. So go ahead and open up your content browser by Control and Spacebar, right click into it, and create a new folder called sound effects, just for organizational purposes. Go ahead, open it up, and at the top of your content browser, hit import, and then go to wherever you saved all of the sound effects that you're going to be using. Go ahead, import all of them. Now, with the content browser open and all of the new sound waves imported into the engine, you can hover over it and then hit the play button to hear the sound in the engine itself already. This is just a quick way of getting some feedback to make sure you have the right sound imported into your game. Now keep in mind, Unreal Engine prefers .wav or .mp3 files. Next, with your audio in Unreal, now go ahead and drag the nature ambience from your content browser anywhere into your scene, and this will then create an audio component which will play this sound effect in your entire level. So if we hit play, we'll be able to hear it pretty much anywhere we go from here. We can start over here, or even if we come all the way back here to the end of the world, we can still hear it just as loudly. So keep that in mind depending on which sound you're using. This is mostly used for ambient sounds that will be naturally playing in the background the entire time your game is going on. However, once placed in your level, you can then adjust various properties of your audio file. You can come over here in the details panel and then change the volume multiplier to something smaller so it is not as loud, as well as the pitch level and some other settings. You can also come down here in the randomization and you can change the random values that it'll have when playing. But once the volume is turned down a little bit, this ambient sound already sounds a lot better. Let's go ahead and reduce it just a little bit more. And this will work for the purposes as of right now. Again, keep in mind, the sound effect will play in your entire level, so if you find a better ambient sound that you want to use, I would recommend switching to that. Now, let's introduce sound cues. These are like audio blueprints, letting you combine multiple sound waves, adjust pitch, and add reverb, and much more. Go ahead and right-click into your content browser, navigate to audio, and then click on sound cue. Go ahead and name it. We will start creating the footstep sound cue. So footstep underscore cue, open it up, and then this is where the magic will happen. So this is almost like the blueprint editor, except it is for the sound cues only. So in here, keep things very simple. Let's go ahead and hit Control and Spacebar to open up our content browser. Select all of our footsteps by hitting Shift, clicking on the first one, and then clicking on the last one, or you can just hit Control and click each individual file, and then drag it into our sound cue. And this will then add every single sound effect that we have into the queue. And then from here, to keep it very simple, drag out from the output pin of the first one and type in random, click on it, and drag it a little bit over and take the output pin from this random and put it into the output pin with the speaker on it. And now all you need to do is hit play cue up here, and you can see and hear that it is starting to play the footstep that we added. So in order to randomize it, we will simply add some input pins, and then we will take the output pin from each sound effect that we added and drag it into the input pin out from our random node. Added one too many, so you can right click on it and then delete input, and then that will take care of that last input node that we don't need. And once again, go ahead and hit save and then hit play cue, and now you can see it plays a different one every time we hit play. This will allow for more organic and natural sound in the actual game because we're using various different sound effects and it's not always the same sound looping over on repeat. Then here as well, you can also change the volume, the pitch, and have various other settings that you can change. You can also, if you have other sounds that you want to add, right click into the panel again, and then in here you have various different effects that you can then utilize and really play with the sound that you're trying to achieve for your project. But again, for this video, we're keeping it real simple. We have randomized footsteps. Let's save it, go ahead and close it out. And now even in here, we can hit play. Each time we hit play, it will be a different sound. So now that our footstep sound cue is created, let's go ahead and actually add it to our character. So what we're gonna do, so we're gonna go up in our content browser, under characters, find mannequins, animations, and then for my purposes, I will be clicking on the animation blueprint Quinn. But if you're using Manny, then go ahead and open up Manny. Once that is opened up, go ahead and dock it to the main window if you want to. And this is going to be your animation window. We're going to keep it simple and not overwhelming with this just yet. This will be getting covered in one of our future videos. So go ahead and go down to the walk forward animation on the right hand side. So walk FWD. And in here, you can see our character is walking. Inside of this window, you can move by right clicking and using your WASD keys, you can then move around your character and the movement will be the same as it is in your main viewport. We're gonna hit pause, go all the way back to the beginning of the track. If you don't have 2 tracks in it just yet, just come over here to the right, click on track, and then insert a notify track. Then this should add your second track to the list. So now we're going to go through the entire animation and add sound effects to each time the foot strikes the ground. So you can take the small tab up here, the red one, and then drag it out to the frame, as you can see annotated by the number with the star next to it. And each time the foot strikes the ground, so in this case frame 7, make sure you're in track 2. You're going to right click, add notify, play sound. You can also add particle effects and various other effects and simulations at this stage of an animation, which we'll cover later on. So we're going to play sound effect. And then click on the sound effect, and then come up to the top right in the details. And here we can then look for the footstep cue that we created. Right here, footstep cue. Again, if you're trying to listen to it, you can hit the play button, but just click on it and that should be it. Now go ahead, copy it, because we're going to be using that same cue, so you don't have to go through the process of always giving it that same footstep cue. But then simply drag through and find where the foot strikes the ground. So I'd say 23, and then right click, paste, and then just keep going. Now that all the footsteps have been added to our walking animation, we can go down here and hit play. And now we can hear whenever the foot strikes the ground, the sound effect plays. So now go over here and find run forward, and then do the same thing. Go ahead and add a new track, insert notify track, keep it as number 2, or you can rename it to sound effects or whatever else makes sense for you. And then just scroll through the animation and add the sound effect wherever it applies. Alright, once it's all done, save, Let's make sure we save the other animation as well. Open it back up, save. We can now close it down, go back to our map, and let's see what it sounds like. Like nothing.
You know, this didn't really go as expected.
Oh, I see what happened. This is the Manny animation that we worked on. So, sorry for that mistake. So we will actually have to redo all of it for MF, I guess mannequin female. What we did was the mannequin male walking animation, and we actually need to work on mannequin female animation. So let's go ahead and go through this as well. Now that it's all done, let's try it again. And there we go. Now we added footsteps to our player. Now you can also attach your audio to other moving objects, like a car or flying birds, or anything else that you have added into your world. Simply parent the audio component to your desired object and the sound will follow its movement. However, we haven't added anything extra yet to our world, so we'll be going over this in a future video, once we start populating our world with more actors. And then keep in mind the footsteps that we did add don't differentiate what kind of ground we're on yet, which is something that will be done in blueprints and you can do later on, but it is a little bit more advanced and I was trying to keep it simple for now. We've added another layer of immersion to your game world. With these fundamentals, you're all set to create a sonic masterpiece in Unreal Engine 5. Was this tutorial ears to your music? If so, give it a like and share it with fellow developers. Subscribe for more harmonious tutorials, and remember, sound is half the experience. Let's make some noise in the gaming world. Stay tuned for the next video and keep it unreal.